Welcome to our quick rundown of the Dell Latitude 5480. This is a top-end model, as you can see on the screen, with a Intel Core i7 quad-core processor, 16 gig of RAM. You could get more, but that's a fair amount. It has a backlit keyboard. It also has a touch screen, which is very nice. So the most interesting thing to see with this is performance. But before we get to that, I want to take the bottom off and show you a couple of things. So let's do that. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to unplug the power, flip it over here, and the only thing I've done to prep for this is undo the screws. So you just take your screwdriver, and so unspin, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, it's a screwed up way to do it, but you get the idea. Now the question is, how do you actually get this off? If you look around it, it's very, very tight. There's not a really easy way to get to it. If you look closely, there's a notch right there. So in theory, you should pry under there and try to pull it up. I found this quite difficult. So what I ended up doing was this. These screws don't come out anymore. They're actually locked in, which means you can tip it upside down, and you can grab this screw in the corner like this, and you can lift it up. And then you get your nail under there, and you can just start sliding along. It's quite easy to do, but it does take some force the first time. I've only done it once, so it does take a minute. There we go. Now the thing to notice before I take this off is that there isn't any docking station capacity for this anymore. It's down to USB, and this is a USB-C 3.1 connector, so there we go. So typical Dell Latitude corporate grade stuff, nice and light, very solid. In here you've got the battery, memory, CPU, you've got a spinning disk. In this case I put in a 1 terabyte spinning disk, and I added in right here an M.2 chunk of memory that really acts as part of the hard drive. It's pretty neat. So that's a 64 gig M2 chip, and it will still show up as just a single 1 terabyte. The operating system and the Intel software will figure out what goes on the SSD and what goes on the spinning disk. The advantage to this is, of course, I could put a 2 terabyte disk in here now, or any other disk, any other larger disk, which will make a big difference for the person involved here. Okay, so let's flip this back over and pop this on. It just clips on. There we go, and then I'll screw it down, but I'll do that later, so don't take your time. Now around here you've got the typical connectors. I'm not going to bore you with them other than to show them to you. The one that's interesting here is the Type-C connector, and that's because it'll allow video to be pushed out very easily, pushed out to a docking station. There is an HDMI port on this one. These are the super speed, so USB 3 port, USB 3 port, VGA. Okay, so let's just bring this up. And now here's the performance that's of interest. This is running Windows 10 64-bit, build 1703, and I was running NovaBench. And if you take a look at the original test I did, you'll see it did very, very well. This runs right up against high-end desktops, high-end being high-end corporate desktops, not real workstations. But if you're running an i7 on a desktop rather than the mobile chip, it's not much different. And the performance of the video is excellent. The RAM speed was actually faster than my most recent desktop that I built, and so it was quite impressive. Now, after I did it, I realized, I didn't have the power plugged in, and that will affect performance specifically of the CPU. So I ran it again with it plugged in, got 1391, which is a nice jump. Ran it again, 1393. So 1390 seems to be the happy place there, and you can see in particular it's the CPU that changes. It's the CPU that gets the big jump. So this is actually faster than almost any. Well, no, this is now this laptop is now faster than any desktop I've ever worked on. It's not as fast as some workstations for sure, but as far as consumer grade, standard corporate grade equipment goes, this is top of the line. The bottom line is that this is now the fastest PC I have ever used. It is not faster than any workstation I've ever used, but I have no desktops with any of my clients, any of my customers that have anything faster than this. This thing is hauling. And with the features like the backlit keyboard and the touch screen, It's very, very nice to use. It's also very, very thin and light. While it doesn't look as stylish as a Surface Book, it is certainly about the same weight. It's about, this one's just over 3 pounds. I think it's supposed to be 3.4 pounds, and it is very nice. That's it. Please check out our website, www.urtech.ca, for more information. Thank you. Bye-bye.